Hey, everybody, this is Damon with DRC Business Consulting. So, welcome back. This week on this show, I have the opportunity of interviewing somebody really cool. And you guys know that we try to interview the coolest people that we can find in whatever space. And so, I have found a homeboy, sort of. He's not from Memphis, but he might as well be from Memphis. He went to the University of Memphis and did a lot of great things in Shelby County. And so, for you non-Tennessee people, Shelby County is Memphis's county. So, um, but anyway, let me introduce you guys to Rafi Chowdhury. How's it going, man?
Doing well, Damon. How about yourself?
Hey, I'm doing great, doing great. Just a bit snowed in, but hey, I'm on the video chat with you, so this is awesome. Um, I
Great.
know you're in sunny California right now, so how's that working out?
That's correct. It's working out really well, even though I'm in my room. I know outside it's probably about 75 degrees right now, so it's not bad.
I appreciate you bragging. Right now it is about 23, yeah, 23 degrees. Humans
Yeah.
shouldn't live, anything below 20, but right now we're at 23 and got snow everywhere. So the city was shut down yesterday. So
This is Knoxville,
yeah,
right? Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't heard about it, but I'm not surprised at all. I think late January and February is the coldest time in that area.
yeah. So it didn't get that cold in Memphis. I know. But so let's
I think
jump
it
in.
got to the 20s, even during the day.
Did it?
At night, I don't know the low temperatures, but during the day it got to the 20s. Yeah,
Oh,
from what
okay.
I've heard.
All
Hmm.
right. Well, I take that back. I've been to Memphis during the summer, and where
Yeah.
it felt like West Hell. It was
Oh,
like
no, it
it was
gets
like
hotter
180
in the summers
degrees.
in California. I can tell you that much. The
So
humidity.
yeah. Mm-hmm. So, folks, just to give you a little bit about Rafi, his background, he's the CEO of Chowdhury Digital, and he's a digital market. He's a professional digital marketer, runs his own consulting firm in the Los Angeles area, and he's also the co-founder of Campus Hacks. So this guy has been doing business for a number of years and is pretty good at what he does. And if you've not checked him out, check him out. But one of the cool things I like about him is that he's a chess prodigy, and I'm going to say that in air quotes. Prodigy. At one point, he was one of the top 100 in the country. Right? Isn't that? Am I correct with that?
Top 100 under the age of 21. Yes.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So let's jump into it. So tell the folks a little bit about yourself, how you got into business, and a little bit about what you're doing now.
Sure. So I started, I guess my first real thing would be right as I was graduating college. Before that, I've done little things here and there, selling things on eBay. I used to breed actually beta fish way back in the day and sell them to Petco because I saw, I mean, it was the easy way to make a few dollars at least. And I was really into fish. But my real, I guess, first venture would be right as I was graduating from the University of Memphis. By the way, I'm from Memphis. I didn't just go to school there. I grew up in Bartlett, Tennessee. I lived in Memphis during my college years, and then moved out here to California. My first venture would be a website for college students called My Campus Hacks. So this idea came from just my own experiences in college. What I realized is like my last year of college, there's all these hacks and shortcuts that I was finding out about, but it was just too late, right? I just found, hey, I could have just done this internship. Not only would I get a class credit, but I would get paid, and it would count towards my major, and it was a really good opportunity with a really good professor. But then I'm like, well, too late. I chose the other one instead, right? Or things like I go, walk 15 minutes away from my class to go grab a Starbucks drink when there was a vending machine right around the corner that I wish I had known about it. It's just these kind of things I realized, like, what if we make all of this information, all these hacks that students know individually. Maybe I know about the vending machine hack, someone else knows about the internship hack, someone else knows about something else. Why don't we just share all of it, right, with each other? And then we have this pool of knowledge of hacks about the campus, that would be beneficial. This is stuff the university is not going to share. This is stuff that people come up with on their own, find little shortcuts to doing things. That's where the idea sparked out of. And I was initially going to just launch it from my own blog, just as a section. But eventually it turned into an entire website. We called it My Campus Hacks. And that was our core idea. And then we eventually expounded on the idea and realized that, hey, there's another need out there. There's no social network that's specific to one particular campus. For example, Facebook started out like that and focused that way, but Facebook isn't what it used to be, right? And as soon as your mom and your dad and uncle aunt started getting on Facebook, you started to getting off of it, and it wasn't really a college network anymore. But nothing really replaced Facebook, right? Is there any such college network out there that's very specific to just your campus? That's a large network out there. So we thought, why don't we just build the old Facebook back, but put a different twist to it? Instead of focusing just on social, we're going to focus mostly on functionality, making college life easier for students by getting them to share things with each other. So building features where people can buy and sell and trade textbooks. Because right now, there's no easy way to do that. When you buy a textbook, when you finish the class, what do you do with it? You could try to sell it on eBay, but you're not going to get much, and it's a lot of hassle. You take it to the bookstore, they'll give you like pennies on the dollar for the book. And it's really hard to connect with other students to sell the book. Like nursing students are doing it in the Facebook groups. You've got a few groups here and there where people are doing it. But for the most part, what's happening to these books is they're going under your bed or on the shelf and never getting touched again. Why not get rid of these books, get some bucks for it, by connecting with a student that's just about to take the class, just as you're graduating the same class? We immediately connect you. So sort of like a Craigslist for campus. It's just features like that, and then ability to follow people, message people, ability to have a master calendar of events where people can put in their events that they're doing, like study groups and things like that. And just our idea was to integrate the entire thing with the university and scale the model by, the university maybe pays us some percentage for making this is keeping the platform alive for them. And then we just manage our platform and we just scale this to different universities and go that route. So that was my first thing. And as I was doing that, co-founders changed and different things happened. So eventually the project got put in the back burner for the time being. And I got involved more with another business. So as you mentioned, yes, I was doing chess. I started playing chess when I was 12. At 14, I started playing in tournaments. Between 15 and 19, I traveled all around the world. Oh, not the world. Well, I could say the world because I did play out of the country a couple of times. But mostly around the U.S., playing in tournaments. I was coaching. I worked with the same company for the last, 9 years, I think, Mid-South Chess. Selling chess products, bringing in grandmasters, running the University of Memphis Chess Club, pretty much everything in the field of chess. So I left Mid-South Chess and saw that we're teaching chess to students, and chess by itself is a really good game, and it teaches you a lot of things. But I was doing research in psychology this time, by the way, on learning progressions. I realized that you really get a lot out of chess if you actually sort of highlight the principles that come out of in a chess game into real world.
Right?
So in chess, we say that, hey, the pawn is the bravest piece and keep pushing it forward no matter what, just keep going forward. That's a principle that you can actually take into real life and say, hey, there's a lot of little minor things that's going to come along the way, but keep your main goal in mind and just keep moving forward regardless. Don't get distracted, right? In chess, we talk about planning ahead and working backwards to see how you can get to that same position. So you can apply this to business and say, hey, here's a really cool shirt. Can I buy the shirt? That's one way to look at it. But a better way to look at it might be that, hey, here's a really cool shirt that I really want. How can I get this shirt? Then your mind is open to all these possibilities. So on the chessboard, we could think like, hey, here's a really amazing position. I wish I could get my queen to this square. Instead of saying, can I get my queen to that square and checkmate in the next two moves? How can I do that? So you start to kind of work backwards. And we've noticed that when you start to teach these skills to students in elementary and middle school, it actually tends to sort of improve how they think about different things in the business sense or in life in general. It's just the ability to keep your mind open to possibility, being naive to a certain extent. That's what encourages a lot of entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
And the ability to think backwards on things, figuring out what your goal is, establishing that picture in your head and very vividly, and then seeing what steps do you need to take to get to that point. And
That's
that's where, go ahead.
no. I was going to say that's extremely interesting because I was having a thought about actually chess the other day, and so chess in life. So if you think about most people's lives, your 20s, if you go through your 20s in a proper manner, then you set your 30s up to be easy, and then you can go into your 40s hitting the next level, right? But most people screw up their 20s. They've got to recover in their 30s, which leaves their 40s kind of shaky. So if you think about life in a, beginning, start game, middle game, end game, it's like starting off the chessboard in a screwed up position, losing some significant pieces at the beginning of the game. You lose those. Now, it's not that you can't win a game, but it is more difficult to win a game at the end of the game
Right.
because you've you've thrown yourself off, and so you have to spend a lot of time recovering, right? So,
Exactly.
um, and I love the hack thing because I wish that was around when I was in college. I'm older than you, but I took a year-long internship, but I didn't learn until in the middle of the internship the company asked me to extend that I could get like 10 credits. So I didn't even know that until I called the school and started talking to them about extension, and they said, "Yeah, with the extension, because of the way it's designed, you'll get 10 credits." I was like, "Wait a minute. Okay, so I can knock off almost a semester by staying in the internship, getting job experience, etc." So there's a lot of things that as you go through that college experience, things pop up or buddies tell you things or girlfriends tell you things and you're like, God, I didn't even know that. Um, when I was coming along, kind of computers were not, I mean, there was programming, but there was a point where the government had said anyone who's in college gets a email address for free. That's why everybody has the .edus, right?
Mhm.
So but that wasn't common knowledge. Everyone didn't know that, and so you had to find the office of computer technology to even get the application for your edu addresses. Now when people register, they automatically get an edu address, etc. But so I love that. I love that hack thing. So
Exactly. That's exactly the point that I was thinking about, is that there are all these roads that we take when we go through college, right?
mhm.
And each one of us paves a different path. That's may not have ever been, someone might not have gone down that path before, but that doesn't mean someone else isn't going to come behind us on that same path, right? If someone already knew what that path looks like and it's already been paved, people might be more willing to go down that same path. So instead of just paving the path and just leaving no trails behind, the idea of the campus hacks was to leave a trail behind. Everything that you've learned that has significantly helped you take you from point A to point C without having to go through B, why don't you share it in just a couple of sentences, right? And
Mhm.
if a student wants to find out more, then they can contact you and say, hey, how did you do that? That was the whole idea, is just helping each other out. The idea of the website was, it was going to be actually points based, sort of like Yahoo Answers, where if you share lots of good content, it's getting voted up in the newsfeed. Not only is it going to show up higher in the newsfeed, it's also going to give you points, which you can then trade in to post your books, look for a roommate, find a room, and that kind of stuff. That was the whole idea behind it. And yeah, it would. It's. I mean, it's still an active project. Actually, we're just now about to launch it again. But that's what my campus hacks was. And going back to the chess idea, yeah, it's the same thing. Is that the more we can teach students to think ahead, the more we can teach the applications of chess to real world situations, the better, the more the game makes sense. Because otherwise, the principles within the game of chess itself sometimes can be sort of sort of blurry. You may not realize like what's the application to this in real life. And without the application, you're just playing chess. You're just and then become like a a magician, right? I mean, you're just
Yeah.
good at one art. That's all. You cannot really apply these skills elsewhere. So that's what Chowdhury's chess leadership program was based around, and we had a really good success with this program. I'm actually kind of sad that I actually didn't follow through with it more. We got into about 23 schools in a matter of just 6 months. And in 3 schools, it was part of the curriculum. The students actually took it as an elective class. And the response was really good, but unfortunately, I just moved on from it. Just got, after doing it for like 9+ years, I was done with chess. So that brings me to online marketing. And I got into that just from launching my own website, RafiChowdhury.com. At first, beautiful website, all this kind of good stuff, but only visitors was maybe like me, a couple of friends, and that's it. So I was like, well, I mean, what do I do with the website if no one's coming on it? So I started, toying around with social media, how to get people to come, using like on Facebook. And I realized like if I just share a link to my blog or my website, no one cared. People only care about things that I say. So I started getting into blogging. And then eventually I realized how to get traffic to the website. So at this point, I'm getting maybe like 100 visitors to the site a day, mostly from social media. I was like, if I can do that for my site, maybe I can do it for someone else's website. And to someone else, it might actually mean money because I wasn't monetizing my website. I didn't have any PayPal set up. I had none of that kind of stuff. I was selling like, I had another business actually in between. I had like this thing called chocolate checkmates, which were basically chocolate chess pieces. And I actually went through, I went through UT Chat, got a extension, and got a business license, or like a business license, food manufacturer's license, a domestic kitchen license, all this kind of stuff in like 2 months, and became a food manufacturer. My kitchen was like a commercial kitchen, and I was mainly doing it at the time as a fundraiser for My Campus Hacks, and it raised a lot of money. For the short time, I sold it for maybe like 6 months or so. And I think we sold about 1,000 units. So I was selling $8 per box. So we probably raised about $8,000 using this product. So anyway, going back to chess leadership program, yeah, I was just kind of running this at the same time. I was selling the chocolate chess pieces from my website for a time being. But for the most part, it wasn't making any money. So I started reaching out to some local companies in Memphis. Like it was like, your more basic things like local plumbers or barber shops and those kind of people saying, hey, this is what I do. It's they were pretty new to it. They had never heard of online marketing. Most of these traditional businesses don't really do anything on the internet.
Absolutely.
So I was helping them build their websites and helping them get some traffic with basic on-page SEO. And I said, you don't have to pay me anything, but if I can actually show you that more people are visiting your website, or you actually get an extra phone call, or you actually show up higher in a Google result, then you can start to pay me. And that's how I picked up my first few clients in that business, which then launched, eventually, I mean, that's what got me to launch my career in online marketing. From there, partnered up with a web development company in Memphis called IPS3 Web. There's a guy from Bangladesh, I'm from there, that I personally knew. So we just kind of got together and started doing more projects, all around the city. We worked with places like Senses Nightclub. We worked with the University of Memphis. Unfortunately for me, I just didn't see how this could grow. There were too many co-founders and not enough clients.
So who was the development guy? Who was out there selling?
I was selling. I did so many shady tactics. I mean, I got my, I'm a firm believer in virtual assistants because they can really make your life a lot easier if you're doing a lot of things on the internet. So I was getting my virtual assistants to go to job boards like Indeed or Monster.com, and I would send my resume and apply to jobs. And then when they call me back or email me back, then I would turn that into a consulting gig. So I would be like, yeah, we have this solution for you. We'll do it, because they will tell you like, we're offering $25,000 or $30,000 a year to this person to do this job for us. And I would say, hey, I'm going to do the same thing for you. I'll work with you for a year, but I'll do it at half the cost if you work with me as a consultant, because I have multiple people on the team. And we have software and technology, and we can just, quickly scale things rather than one person in-house. So I got a couple of clients that way. And then I started doing on Craigslist. I got one of my virtual. I have a software that I use called Arbitrage Underdog, and it'll scrape all of Craigslist by a particular keyword, and then it'll auto email those people saying, "Hey, I saw your post. I know you're looking for this. This is what I do," and then I send my links and stuff like that, and then just start emailing like hundreds and hundreds of people, like all around the country, really. So got a few more clients that way too. But yeah, like I said, it's not a business that I could really scale being in Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
So around this time, I had a friend that I knew through swing dancing. I used to do swing dancing at when I was in University of Memphis. And he just graduated college. He was a computer science major, and he complimented a lot of my skills that I have, because I don't do tech very well. I mean, I'm in the technology field, but I don't know how to code. I don't, none of that stuff. So me and him were thinking, we got to move out. Like, this Memphis is just not gonna do it for us. So we thought about Nashville for a while and thought, it's a bigger city, more resources, that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, and then we're like, if we're gonna go out of Memphis, might as well just make it big.
Yeah.
He had family in Los Angeles, so he's like, hey, why don't we just go there? We essentially just picked up our bags, fit whatever we could in our cars, and just drove across the country and landed here. I came here with a job as a digital marketing manager for a healthcare startup, but within a month I quit that. Unfortunately, I just can't really picture myself in a job. I've had jobs before, like I worked for Eco Signs and Banners. I worked with Dr. George Flynn. He's a politician in Memphis. People like that. I just couldn't see myself doing that. Anyway, so yeah, when I got here, I started for 2 months. I struggled, like eating burritos every day. Like no money. The broke was like a broke college kid all of a sudden again. Uh, so thank God that eventually I figured out that the trick. I was using the same strategy, applying to jobs on Indeed, going into all these meetings. I tried lots of other things in between too. I joined some startup where the co-founder unfortunately died. It's just like crazy how things happen. So I dropped out of that, and then yeah, I just started doing it on my own. Didn't really land any clients at all until I realized the value of the tripwire strategy, where
Mm-hmm.
you just do a little small transaction, get them in the door, and then try to upsell them.
Yep.
Using that strategy, picked up my first 3 clients. Continue doing that. Still have those 3 clients right now that I'm working with. Fast forward really fast. I met some people on Facebook. Started following people, influential people and friends of influential people.
Mm-hmm.
Met up with this guy named Peter Chen. Turns out he raised $500,000 for his last company called Vitamin through Y Combinator.
Mm-hmm.
And him and his girlfriend or fiance are graduates from Stanford in software engineering. They've got another guy, graduate from Harvard Business School. And then they saw potential in me, and we got together and created what we call now Airplane, which is a growth engineering agency. It's a long bio, but anyway, that brings me to the current time. That's what I do right now.
So that's what I wanted to get into, growth engineering, but I mean, pretty awesome. I'm just gonna tell you, man, I'm over here dying. I'm over here freaking dying, laughing because one, there's a number of things that you've done that were, and this is the most honest. You get entrepreneurs, and I love entrepreneurs who have real conversations, right? Not, oh well, I was perfect and I had this growth curve and it was awesome and I never
Everything I did failed up until now.
ever, if they tell you that story, they are lying.
Right.
So, like, people get it. If you are looking to start up and somebody is telling you how wonderful he is, run, 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 run. Even the best entrepreneurs fail. The best projects fail. It is what it is. Out of launches, let's just talk about online launches. What is the number that fail? Like, out of 10, what, 9 fail out of 10 launches? I think.
Yeah.
So
Like 90-something% of startups fail. Yeah, within their first like 4 years, I think.
yeah, exactly. So anyway, awesome. And then the burrito thing. So yeah, Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. You gotta
I
do
mean,
it.
I ran out of funds. I'm not gonna lie. Like I had like $135 from my bank account, and I'm in LA. No support from parents. I've got a room to pay for, car to pay for, insurance. It's crazy. It was scary, honestly. But yeah, I was there not that long ago.
Yeah. So let's get into it. Let's talk about growth engineering.
Sure.
Let's talk about that project. So
Sure. That project is all hosted under airplanehq.com. So what I've done thus far is mostly in the realms of digital marketing, where I'm managing things for them. I'm doing content marketing, social media marketing, on page and off page search engine optimization, um, anything like that, email marketing, all the basic stuff. Eventually, I realized that just doing what everyone else is doing and trying to do it better wasn't enough, right? If you can find out ways that you can reach your customers that in ways that no one else is reaching, those tended to be the most effective forms of marketing. So
mm,
if in your
mhm,
field, when someone is trying to get a lead, all they're doing is email marketing, let's say using something like a Craigslist type of thing, or even like my Indeed strategy, and that's the only way they're trying to reach their customers, that leaves a perfect avenue for you to pick up the phone and call someone, because these clients aren't used to getting phone calls, and it's a lot harder to say no over the phone
mhm,
than it is to ignore an email, right? So thinking about these things, and then also struggling to land a client, like I was going to 2 or 3 meetings a day all over LA. I was driving like 6 hours a day, meeting with these people. Everything goes good, they're interested, but then when it comes time to it, and I email them over and over, they don't respond anymore. I'm like, what's going on?
mhm,
And
mhm,
being online marketers, we're really shy with the phone for some reason. We hate to pick up the phone and talk to people. And I was the same way. I was just email them over and over all these nice things and as to why they should work with me, but they wouldn't respond either way. Then one
mhm,
day I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm just gonna call this guy. When I called him, he picked up the phone, right? And then we started a conversation again. Like, yeah, I've been so busy, man. Your email, I didn't even get them because it got so far behind in my pile.
mhm.
And then boom, next thing I know, I sold him on $1,000 a month social media management gig. And he's like, yeah, let's start. I was actually waiting for you to give me a call. I was like, really? What? I don't think he was, but he just said that to be courteous, I think, at the time.
Uh-huh.
But I realized, like, you need to actually call people. You need to pick up the phone and call people. It's a really good marketing channel, sales channel. Like Grant Cardone taught me this, in fact. Um,
I'm a fan of Grant. I'm a fan.
yeah, he
Yeah.
does really. If you watch some of his videos, they're really, really good. They're helpful, actually. Um, so it's just that's what sparked the idea of trying to figure out, like, how do you grow a business really fast? How do you make more sales more effective?
Mhm,
From that, I started to take these same concepts and started to apply them to marketing. And I realized one of the most effective ways to build a brand when you have nothing, like you're just just from nowhere, like me, just came out of in LA and you're trying to run a startup, is to use your personal brand, because everyone has a personal brand. Like Damon, for example. Damon might have started his business yesterday, but Damon Rawls himself has been around on earth for at least 20 something years,
mhm.
right? People
Yep.
know who you are. You have family, friends that know who you are, what your skills are, what you do. So why not just build that brand out? Start blogging about yourself and what you do, right? Start educating people. Let people know about this figure, Damon Rawls, right? That's what people are really interested in. People want to know more about you, ultimately, not your business so much. They want to know you. They're buying you. Same
Mhm,
concept Facebook went off of. They want to know about other people. So I took that into account. I said, hey, why don't I start helping these large companies that are struggling still, or just like even startups? Why don't I start offering personal branding as a service, where I get into their Facebook accounts and start adding all the relevant people, join groups for them on their behalf, starting engaging in groups, publishing content from them for them on their behalf from LinkedIn, things
mhm,
like that.
mhm,
And that actually appealed to a lot of these people that were just struggling. They had really great brand awareness sometimes, but they didn't have a personal brand. No one was following them. And as soon as they would start, end that company, move on to the next one, which a lot of serial entrepreneurs here do that, they had to start all over again. They have
mhm.
no recognition at all. That's what I was like, hey, this all these kind of things can be combined together into a whole different field of marketing, called like growth marketing almost. got into that, and then just somehow met up with Peter, the guy I told you about. He's very techy, amazing developer, one of the best developers I've ever met, probably. And he introduced me to the idea of growth engineering, where you combine growth hacking, kind of what I do,
Mm-hmm.
with the software engineering side of it, where you have one person who has both the marketing background and at the same time the technical background, so they can not only come up with the ideas and the strategy and the optimizations, but they can also implement this instead of having to rely on a software engineer or developer. And then we formed together with Airplane, which they were already in business. They just added me to it.
Yeah.
And I joined them, and that's what we're doing. We're picking up new clients just about every week now, with social media. Our core product is actually really cool, by the way. It's an artificial intelligence system that basically emulates human behavior in social media. So it'll tweet, retweet, use different hashtags, follow, unfollow people, comment, all automated on your behalf using big data. So it finds targeted followers to follow and do that with. And that's what our agency is based around.
Nice.
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 That's interesting.
That's interesting. Thank you.
We'll talk offline. But it's pretty interesting something you said about building the brand, because people want to know you, and in this current environment, it's interesting. You have a lot of marketers who try to hide, right? They try not to let you know that they're the owner of the company, and they mask themselves. But we live in the current environment where everything is open, right? People want to know you, and people will probably more than likely do business with you because they know you and what type of integrity, et cetera, you have. But most people try to hide, which is still, it's a very interesting thing, because in my world, it's all about strategy. So I look at everybody, I watch what everybody does. I look at, what owners are doing, what the best business people are doing, and the failures. I watch what the failures are doing also. Right.
Exactly.
And so we always talk about, and I want to touch on this thing that you said about disruption, right? So we spend our time talking about, how do you disrupt the market? How do you disrupt the market? Well, you should do something extremely unique, etc. The damn phone is a disruption. The phone, simple as it is a disruption, because how often do you get a phone call, in an old school cold calling method? That's a disruption.
Exactly.
Because it's not following it's not a Facebook message. It's not a DM in Twitter. It's not an Instagram DM. It's a disruption. If my phone starts ringing right now and a guy really hits me with now you got to be good too. Now, now that's the thing about the phone. You can't just call people with garbage. You got to be good. And it's funny. I was looking to speak at a conference. I was building, because I do speaking gigs too, and so I was building a list of some conferences that I wanted to work for 2016, and this was in November of last year. So I'm calling people, etc. I mean, I'm literally like, I call you if I find out. And here's a secret: so people who want to be speakers, find out who's running the conference and get their phone number and give them a call. And then you can talk to them about what their desire is to build around the topics. So typically they'll tell you, oh, well, I would like this type of outcome at the conference, or in this workshop, I would love this. I did that with the Tennessee Bar Association and did a talk for 50 judges, et cetera, in their national conference. And I said, well, what do you want from me? And she said, oh, well, I would love if you did a networking talk that was interactive. So that's what I built, a networking talk that was exactly what she wanted. So a couple of keys there, guys. Pick up the phone. The phone works, and it is disruptive. So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off if I cut you
No,
off.
no,
But,
that's really good stuff. I
yeah.
100% agree. I completely agree with everything you've said so far.
Yeah. So I know we're kind of getting long on time. So let's. I know you're busy, man, and it's getting late. So I want to wrap up, but tell the folks where they can find you, and then in the notes I will put some links to you, etc. So
Sure. The easiest way to find me is just my personal website, which is Rafi, RafiChowdhury.com.
that's it. So good enough. Well, I will throw your website in the show notes. And guys, I hope you liked this interview. Rafi's doing some awesome stuff. And growth engineering, if you haven't looked at it or if you haven't considered it, this is the wave of the future. So because it's combining a lot of things that we're already doing right now. So with that, guys, thank you for sitting in. And Rafi, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
And
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
yeah, and guys, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Facebook, I'm all over the place. You can look me up on social media. Just Google Damon Rawls. And if you want to go over to the consulting website, it's DRC Business Consulting. So with that, thanks, and we'll see you guys next week.
So yeah, thank you.